What if I told you that some of Nigeria's richest black female athletes don't just play for the country, they quietly own it? From Blessing Okagbare's million-dollar real estate empire to Asisat Oshoala's international football fortune, these women have turned medals into power and purpose. Stay until the end, because one athlete's business portfolio is so vast, it now funds entire sports academies across Africa without a single government grant. Blessing Okagbare, the Olympic pioneer turned property mogul. When Blessing Okagbare first sprinted barefoot through the dusty tracks of Sapele, no one imagined that the girl chasing the wind would one day become the face of Nigerian athletic power, and later a millionaire mogul. Her rise wasn't instant. She trained through torn shoes, sleepless nights, and the quiet disbelief of a country that rarely invests in women's sports. Yet by 2008, she crossed a finish line that would change her life forever, winning Nigeria's first ever Olympic long jump medal, a bronze that glimmered brighter than gold because of where she came from. That moment wasn't her climax, it was her turning point. Each race afterward became a battle not just against competitors, but against doubt, hers and her nation's. From London 2012 to Glasgow 2014, she piled up victories, breaking Commonwealth records and earning sponsorships that pushed her career earnings beyond $1 million. But as fame bloomed, Blessing was already thinking ahead. Speed fades, she once said in an interview, but foundation lasts, and that foundation became real, literally. With her first prize winnings, she purchased a $350,000 apartment complex in Lekki, turning it into luxury rentals for young professionals. It was a cautious start, yet the properties doubled in value within 5 years. Soon, she expanded her portfolio into Abuja, investing in wellness centers and fitness clubs aimed specifically at supporting Nigerian women in sports, a business model no athlete in the country had tried before. Each space carries her signature: minimalist interiors, imported gym equipment, and motivational murals quoting her own words. Still, the empire wasn't just about money. When the track lights dimmed, Blessing faced what every athlete fears: the silence after the roar. But she turned that silence into strategy, using it to study finance, partner with developers, and mentor upcoming runners. Today, her name stands not just in record books, but on property deeds across Nigeria's skyline. Her journey isn't about running faster than others, it's about running further, beyond the finish line, until the world remembers not just her medals, but the empire she built after the applause stopped. Asisat Oshoala, the queen of African football? When Asisat Oshoala first kicked a football through the narrow streets of Ikorodu, Lagos, it wasn't a game, it was rebellion. In a world where girls were told that football was for men, she played anyway, barefoot, dodging insults and laughter with every dribble. The turning point came when her speed and precision caught the eye of scouts from the Pepsi Football Academy. From there, her rise was meteoric. Within a few years, she was no longer the girl sneaking out to play. She was Africa's most feared striker. By 2014, Oshoala had become a global name. Her performance at the U20 Women's World Cup earned her the Golden Ball and Golden Boot, paving the way for contracts in England's Liverpool ladies, Arsenal women, and later FC Barcelona Femini. In Spain, she shattered records, scoring over 30 goals in a single season and winning multiple UEFA Women's Champions League titles. But even as trophies stacked higher, Oshoala's mind was elsewhere. On ownership, she once said, "If football gives you fame, you must turn it into foundation." With a net worth now estimated at over $2 million, she has invested strategically in luxury apartments across Lagos Island and launched the Asisat Oshoala Foundation, a youth empowerment initiative that funds scholarships, football camps, and training programs for girls who remind her of herself. Each year, she sponsors tournaments that draw hundreds of young players, offering not just visibility but mentorship, connecting them to scouts and international academies. Her foundation's compound in Surulere, worth nearly $400,000, doubles as both a training facility and safe space for teenage athletes escaping early marriage and poverty. And yet, her story keeps evolving. Oshoala's goal isn't just to score on the pitch, it's to rewrite Nigeria's playbook on women's sports and financial independence. Her mantra: play like a warrior, invest like a queen. Because when the final whistle blows, the real legacy isn't the medal, it's the empire that keeps scoring long after the crowd goes quiet. If you were in her position, would you chase another goal or build your own field? Tobi Amusan, the record breaker and tech visionary. When Tobi Amusan steps onto the track, the world goes silent. Then the gunshot breaks it. In that split second, everything she's endured, running barefoot as a teenager in Ijebu-Odi, being dismissed as too small, watching her parents worry she was wasting her time, turns into propulsion. The world saw a sprinter. Nigeria saw a miracle. And in 2022, when she crossed the finish line in 12.12 seconds, breaking the 100-meter hurdles world record, she saw something else entirely. A door to a future far beyond athletics. Unlike most athletes, Tobi didn't chase endorsements for status, she chased innovation. With her winnings, over $1.5 million in career earnings, she built a new kind of legacy. She launched the Tobi Amusan Sports and Tech Initiative, an organization that funds AI-driven performance tracking systems for young athletes across Nigeria. The project's headquarters in Abeokuta, valued at over $400,000, features smart training labs, motion sensors, and virtual coaching pods designed to simulate professional conditions. Her goal wasn't to create another academy, it was to democratize access to sports technology, giving rural athletes the same data advantages that Olympic champions enjoy. Yet, Tobi's story remains human. After her record-breaking run, she returned home quietly, visiting the same track where she once raced barefoot, handing out shoes to teenage girls still chasing dreams on cracked concrete. She funds their travel to competitions, pays for tutors to keep them in school, and uses every partnership from Adidas to Visa to push more girls into athletics. For Tobi Amusan, success isn't measured by seconds, it's measured by systems. Systems she's building, funding, and leaving behind. Her name might have entered history for speed, but her legacy will outlast every stopwatch. Because she's not just breaking records anymore. She's rewriting the blueprint of what an African athlete can become. Chioma Ajunwa, the legacy of Nigeria's first Olympic gold. When Chioma Ajunwa leapt into the air at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, time seemed to stop. In that moment, 7.12 meters later, she didn't just win gold, she rewrote Nigeria's story. It was the country's first ever Olympic gold medal, earned by a woman who had once been told she didn't belong in sports at all. Her victory was more than athletic brilliance. It was rebellion, redemption, and the kind of grace that comes from surviving what should have broken you. Chiyoma's road was never smooth. Before the medal, she had faced rejection from the Nigerian police force, financial hardship, and a temporary suspension that nearly ended her career. Yet she trained in silence, running on abandoned fields, often without proper shoes, driven by a promise to herself, to become the proof that women could lift a nation's pride. When she finally returned to the national team, she didn't just compete, she conquered. But while the gold brought her fame, it didn't bring fortune. Government promises faded, sponsorships never came, and her triumph risked becoming a forgotten headline. So Chioma did what champions do. She built again, this time from the ground up. Using her savings and police pension, she began investing in real estate across Lagos and Owerri, acquiring rental properties valued at over $1.2 million today. Each apartment became a symbol of self-reliance. A declaration that legacy doesn't need permission. Now serving as a Deputy Commissioner of Police, she channels her earnings into the Chioma Ajunwa Foundation, mentoring young athletes and providing scholarships for girls abandoned by the system that once ignored her. Her voice carries the weight of experience, firm, patient, unshakable. For Chioma, the gold medal was never the end, it was the beginning of a longer race, one without finish lines, where the real victory isn't measured in distance or speed, but in the lives she pulls forward as she keeps running. Francisca Ordega, the model of financial discipline. When Francisca Ordega first played football on the dusty fields of Biboko, Benue State, there were no crowds, no sponsors, only a handful of boys who mocked her for daring to dream. She was fast, fearless, and broke every rule expected of a girl. What started as a local street game became her passport to the world. By 19, she had signed her first professional contract abroad, a moment that transformed not just her life, but her mindset about money, purpose, and power. From the US National Women's Soccer League to clubs in Spain, Russia and China, Ordega's journey was never cushioned by fame or million-dollar deals. Her salaries were modest compared to male players, yet her discipline was unmatched. Instead of chasing luxury, she chased longevity. Each paycheck was split, half saved, half invested. She purchased her first property in Abuja for $180,000, then another in Makurdi, converting them into steady rental income. Over time, her portfolio grew into multiple residential units and small commercial spaces worth over $1.5 million today. But wealth for Francisca was never about numbers, it was about freedom. She created Franny's Fitness Hub, a boutique gym chain offering training programs for female athletes and single mothers. The centers, currently operating in Abuja and Port Harcourt, combined fitness with financial literacy workshops, teaching women how to manage income and avoid the traps of short-term success. Each facility is a reflection of her belief that financial empowerment is the real trophy athletes should chase. Off the pitch, Francisca lives modestly. She still drives herself to training, cooks her own meals and mentors young girls who remind her of her own beginnings. To them, she repeats the same words that shaped her empire. Talent feeds you once, discipline feeds you forever. And that's how a girl who started with nothing learned to build something that keeps growing, quietly, steadily, and entirely on her own terms. Onome Ebi, the icon of longevity and legacy. When Onome Ebi first joined Nigeria's national team, she was barely 18. Too young, they said, to handle the weight of the Super Falcons jersey. 2 decades later, she has rewritten every expectation, becoming the first African woman to appear in 6 FIFA World Cups. Her career isn't defined by one shining moment. It's a marathon of resilience, a living testimony to how endurance can outlast every doubt. While many of her peers retired early, Onome turned longevity into her greatest currency. Her discipline borders on ritual. Even now, at nearly 40, she trains twice a day, one session for strength, another for speed. Her home in Abuja, a $450,000 property surrounded by manicured gardens, doubles as a recovery center equipped with cryotherapy and hyperbaric chambers. Every wall carries framed jerseys, not as decoration, but as milestones of consistency. She calls it the Legacy House, and it's here that she mentors younger players on nutrition, branding, and post-career planning. Her financial journey mirrors her play style, measured, strategic, impossible to rattle. Between tournaments, Onome quietly built a real estate portfolio worth nearly $2 million, spanning apartment blocks in Lagos, Abuja, and Asaba. She also founded EB Sports Consult, a mentorship and scouting agency that helps Nigerian athletes secure contracts abroad. The company, headquartered in her second residence in Lagos Island, operates on a model she designed herself, pairing financial advisors with new signings to ensure no athlete repeats the cycle of earning fast and losing faster. But behind her calm smile is an unspoken drive to prove that age, in sports and in wealth, is not limitation but leverage. When asked how she's still competing at an elite level, she laughs, saying, "Because I play for tomorrow, not today." And maybe that's the secret. While the world watches her defend goals, Onome Ebi has been quietly defending her future. Would you trade speed for staying power if it meant owning every season that came after? Rasheedat Ajibade, branding business and the blue hair phenomenon. When Rasheedat Ajibade dyed her hair electric blue, it wasn't rebellion, it was strategy. In a sport where thousands of players look alike on the field, she made sure no one would ever forget her. The color became her armor, her signature, and eventually her brand. From the streets of Agege, Lagos, where she juggled a worn-out ball until her feet blistered, to the bright stadiums of Atletico Madrid, Ajibade's journey has been a lesson in how individuality can become enterprise. At just 24, she has built more than a football career, she's built an identity. Every goal she scores in Spain adds to a global following that now stretches beyond sports into fashion and tech. Her image, sharp blue hair, fierce confidence, unshakable purpose, has turned into a marketing powerhouse. Endorsements from Nike, Pepsi and Techno Mobile have brought in over $1.5 million in sponsorship revenue, pushing her net worth past $2 million. Yet Ajibade's greatest play isn't on the field, it's in the economy she's quietly creating. Through her brand Rash, she designs streetwear inspired by Lagos youth culture. Hoodies embroidered with affirmations like "Born to Rise" and "The future is female." The line sold out its first drop within a week, largely because Ajibade doesn't just sell merchandise, she sells meaning. Part of the profits fund tech scholarships for young Nigerian women, with over 100 already trained in coding and design through her foundation's workshops in Yaba's Tech Hub. Inside her Lagos residence, a sleek $400,000 penthouse with views of the Atlantic, her home office doubles as a creative studio filled with prototypes, gaming consoles, and sneaker samples for upcoming collaborations. Every inch of her space mirrors her brand: vibrant, modern, unapologetically bold. For Rasheedat Ajibade, success isn't just measured in trophies, it's in trademarks, community impact, and the courage to turn self-expression into legacy. Her blue hair may grab attention, but her vision ensures no one will ever forget why it matters. Favour Ofili, the rising star of Nigerian sprinters. When Favour Ofili sprinted through the rain-soaked tracks of Port Harcourt, she wasn't just racing opponents, she was racing time itself. At 16, while her classmates were studying for exams, she was rewriting Nigeria's youth sprint records barefoot on uneven clay. That determination caught the attention of international scouts, and soon the teenager who once trained with borrowed spikes was flying to the United States on a full scholarship. By the time she joined Louisiana State University, the world had begun to whisper her name with awe. At just 21, Favour Ofili has become the face of a new generation of Nigerian speed. She holds multiple NCAA records, has run the 200 meters in under 22 seconds, and signed a multi-million-dollar endorsement deal with Adidas that instantly elevated her into Nigeria's elite class of young millionaires. But for Ofili, success was never about luxury. It was about leverage. In races and lectures for her business degree, she studies finance, determined to understand the machinery of money as precisely as she understands her stride. Her first major investment wasn't a mansion or a car, it was a training complex in Port Harcourt worth nearly $500,000, featuring synthetic tracks, smart timing systems, and open access for underprivileged youth. She calls it Project 22, a nod to the 22-second barrier she shattered in the 200 meters. Every month, part of her prize earnings funds the maintenance of the facility and pays for athletic scholarships for children who remind her of herself, a generation that could run faster if only given the ground to do it. Yet, beyond the medals and money, Ofili represents something more enduring: evolution. She's proof that Nigerian athletes no longer need to choose between excellence and enterprise, because in her world, every race isn't just about crossing a finish line, it's about creating one for others to begin. Mary Onyali, the trailblazer who started it all. When Mary Onyali first burst down the track at the 1992 Barcelona Olympics, her hair streaked orange under the sun, a flame that refused to go out. Long before global sponsorships or digital fame, she ran for something simpler: dignity. In a time when Nigerian female athletes had no real funding, no modern tracks, and often no uniforms that fit, Onyali became a symbol of defiance. Her bronze medal in the 4x100 relay wasn't just a victory for Nigeria, it was a signal to every young girl who'd been told sports wasn't her place. Throughout the 1990s, Onyali carried that fire across the world. 5 Olympic appearances, dozens of medals, and an unshakable consistency that defined Nigerian sprinting for a decade. Her greatest triumph came at the 1994 Commonwealth Games, where she won gold in the 200 meters, setting a standard that no Nigerian woman had reached before. But beyond the podium, she was already planning for the race that lasts longer than fame. "You can't run forever," she said once, "but you can make sure others keep running." When her competitive years ended, she didn't slow down. She shifted lanes. Using savings from her athletic career and sponsorship bonuses, totaling nearly $700,000, Onyali invested in athlete development programs and real estate in Lagos, including a $250,000 duplex in Ikeja that now houses her foundation offices. Her Mary Onyali Sports Initiative funds training camps, scholarships, and mentorship for girls across Nigeria. She also serves as a board advisor to the National Athletics Federation, shaping policies that ensure future athletes don't face the same neglect she once did. Today, her legacy stretches far beyond the finish line. Every time a Nigerian woman sprints beneath the stadium lights, a part of her runs with them. The pioneer who didn't just win medals, but carved the path others now follow. And it makes you wonder, if she lit the first flame, what kind of fire will the next generation ignite? From record-breaking sprinters to global football icons, Nigeria's black female athletes have rewritten what power looks like, transforming victories on the field into empires off it. Their combined fortunes, investments and foundations are shaping education, real estate and youth development across the nation. They are no longer just representing Nigeria, they're building it. If you enjoyed uncovering how these women turned gold medals into gold mines, make sure to like, subscribe and turn on notifications. And stay tuned for part 2, where we reveal how their wealth is quietly reshaping Africa's entire sports industry.